Good morning, everyone. This is Mike Dane with MLS Technology, and today we're actually very excited to welcome Blaine from Earnest, who's going to be introducing us to the Earnest app. Um, I will go ahead and actually just let it take over now.
Well, good morning, everyone. It's a real pleasure to be with you all today. Looks like we got quite a few folks in the room. Again, my name is Blaine Wellgraven. I am the VP of Operations here at Earnest. So it's really a pleasure to be with you all. Excited about this partnership, guys. Earnest was formed in 2017. We were formed around the concern around secure earnest money, specifically wire fraud and check fraud. It's interesting to me to be at this point because the concerns we had when we started Earnest as a secure ACH digital payment tool, not a wire, not a check, the concerns we had around fraud back in 2017 seem so, trite and minor compared to where the whole problem exists today. Everything we were concerned about then has exponentially grown since. And so we are excited to be having this talk with you all today to present our secure, safe digital payment tool. And when I say that, I'll actually start before I jump into the slide presentation. I will actually just show one thing that I think is very, very powerful. And that is, folks, that Earnest has moved over 3 billion in earnest money to date. And we have done that, folks, without any form of breach of our system, without any form of fraud. Not a single transaction has been fraudulent. And we've done that again. It says it right here, redefining payment security and convenience. We have used the ACH network not just to ensure good funds, but to make sure that funds are secure and irrevocable. In 2017, most folks weren't using the ACH network. They knew it was secure, but they were worried about the irrevocability part. Well, we solved that too. We have never let a chargeback pullback impact our escrow holder network, which now numbers in the thousands. So you're talking about the number one digital earnest money tool in real estate today, and now it's integrated right inside MLS technology. So let's take a look at that. Overview of Earnest, how money moves in real estate. Again, your number one digital payment tool in the United States today. 1 out of every 20 transactions for earnest money is going through this platform. That's up from essentially about 0 6 years ago. So we've grown rapidly as folks have realized this safe and secure conduit. But it's not just safe and secure, guys. It's how money moves in real estate because we have cutting edge technology that makes this a very flexible plug and play, absolutely convenient solution for your members. Agents love Earnest. Again, it's the number one agent used earnest money tool in the United States today because it's just easy. It's very, very easy. It's a Venmo-like request and pay experience that is available from anywhere. Again, just to retouch on what I mentioned earlier, I sort of laid the groundwork, but I've talked about fraud, and I do need to talk about where it's at. I know many of you are probably experts or at least peripherally aware of what's going on in the industry. You guys see the numbers. This is a really serious problem. It's a billion-dollar problem, many times over. More to the point, guys, the average real estate successfully perpetuated fraud case in 2024 was for $125,000. $125,000. There might be folks on this call that have been through that, where wiring instructions were intercepted or replaced, and a home buyer paid the price. That has never happened with Earnest because we're not a wire. We don't use that route. We're also solving the convenience factor. I call it the convenience factor. Guys, again, we're in South Carolina. That's where we started. So that's an attorney state. Whether you're a title state or an attorney state or a state where brokerages hold, whatever the combination, Earnest has built a secure network with thousands of brokerages, title companies, and attorneys because they recognize this pain point. They recognized it for the buyer. They recognized it for themselves. Buyers and agents having to go through this crazy process with a check. And then still there might not be trackability when it was dropped off at the location it was supposed to be dropped off at. And that doesn't even delve into the problems with the US mail system. We've got customers in the Northeast and the Midwest reporting that 25% of mail is lost in transit from their records. So that's no longer a reliable method. And we are rapidly replacing both wires and checks for these reasons. And here's how we're doing it. 100% digital payments. I think everybody is vaguely familiar with the ACH network, but maybe not its component parts. But what using the ACH network allows us to do, guys, with our system, we don't see buyer bank information. We verify the buyers as they're going through. We do a sufficient funds check to make sure they have the sufficient funds to pay the earnest money. And we are not a bank. Very important point. There's some confusion occasionally around that. Are you guys intermediaries? No, there's no commingling. We don't hold the funds ever. We don't see the information. We don't hold it. We have a system set up using the ACH network that acts as a conduit for these payments. Now, the best part is because we are using the ACH network is a system of secure files. We can grab information from those files, and that's point number 4 there you see on the right side of your screen, the memo image. We can keep all parties in the loop as the transaction is moving forward. So when a buyer hits pay in our system, everybody knows right away. The agent who sent the request originally, the escrow holder who's in our network, everybody gets a customer seat, letting them know the amount, for what property, what time, what bank, all that information. And we're SOC 2 certified, guys. That may not mean a lot to most folks. I didn't know what SOC 2 certification was until about 5-6 years ago. Long story short is this is a metric that measures how well you are handling client data. It's across 5 different points, and you have to have strict integrity across all 5 points. We set the standard for this. I'm very proud to say we were the first digital payments company in the industry, period, to be SOC 2 certified. And we knew we were doing something right when everybody else who had come in behind us copied this. We knew we had done the right thing at that moment. Again, guys, stated differently, I think the key point on this page, a lot of words on this page, right? But the key thing here is, guys, is I like to start at the top and the bottom, irrevocable funds, and then you jump to the bottom, completely vetted network. When your members go in, whether it's in the integration in the technology, MLS technology, or it's in the phone app, we'll show you both pathways. When they go in and create a request and send it to their buyer, they are selecting a name, literally a Netflix smart search. It's the equivalent of that. They select their title company. They select their attorney. They select their brokerage, whatever it may be. They select that escrow holder. They are locking in the funding instructions behind the scenes. That cannot be changed by anybody who comes in after the request has been sent. It is locked in. And we vetted everybody in our network. So there is a closed loop here where part of the reason it would be so difficult to perpetuate fraud in our system is we control the endpoints. And the receivers are all vetted by us. And the senders are all just going down a one-way street. The requesters have locked in the endpoint, the escrow holder. The payer can only pay in one direction. All right. The earnest difference in what's our results. I mentioned some of it. We've done 600,000. It's actually getting closer to 650,000. By the end of the year, it'll be 750,000 in number of transactions moved. It's getting closer. It used to be, we just said 3 billion. It's getting closer to 3.5 billion moved digitally. And all of that, again, 0 instances of fraud. The network effect. Again, guys, this is a really helpful slide when I explain to folks how this all works. You've got the agents on the left-hand side, the people needing to make the request. Sometimes it's the escrow officer. Sometimes it's a TC, a transaction coordinator. A lot of times, the majority of the time, it's the agent. The deal is on the way. We need to get the earnest money in. That's the demand side. Earnest does trainings like this to make folks aware and grow the demand side, how to use our product, how to use our integrations like MLS technology. The buyer is right there in the middle. That's how we monetize. $24 flat fee charged to the buyer, no matter how much earnest money is being moved. That's a really important point, guys. We have a flat fee. Does not matter if they're moving 100,000, 150,000, or 5,000. The fee stays flat at $24. And this payment experience is easy, guys. Really easy. You're talking about a buyer that from the comfort of their own home, from the car line, from their job on a lunch break, can pay their earnest money securely in a verified manner in 3 minutes. That means the end-to-end process is 5 minutes for the parties involved, including the request time from the agent or escrow officer. And then on the right side, we have the supply. You got demand on the left side, You got supply on the right side. We are adding 40, 50, 60 escrow holders every month. Part of that is because we make inviting them very easy. I'll show you guys how to do that later on if you've got a preferred escrow holder that's not in our network. The second reason is our security. Escrow holders are concerned about that. When they see that we have a fraud-free platform, they jump. And third, and more on this in a bit, we keep it free for the supply and the demand. We do not charge agents. We do not charge escrow holders. I'll get pressed in escrow holder meetings. You don't charge us anything. And I'll say no. Go, well, maintenance fees. No. Setup fee? No. No software as a service? Nope. We do not charge the thousands and thousands of escrow holders in our network at all. Our model's not built that way. So they're going to love this. Free, secure. That's a straightforward sale, guys. That's a sale that, kind of sells itself. And that's how we built the most secure and largest escrow holder network in the United States. And you can see there, American Eagle Title Group, Keller Williams, Allegiance Title, NTA. We've got some of the biggest names in Oklahoma, and they continue to pour in. We're adding another couple Oklahoma escrow holders this very month. What does the agent experience in terms of the integration inside Matrix? Well, the Earnest button there, you see the green kind of quill feather there, Earnest with two N's. We're inside the Clarity dashboard, and we're inside the listing details. Easy, click on these, and the integration will take over. The agent will be asked to sign in. We recommend they use, or the member will be asked to sign in. We recommend they use their business email. There will be no passwords at all for agents or buyers. Again, you hear these themes over and over again for me about Earnest, but it's really Earnest's themes. We want it to be secure. We want it to be easy. Not having passwords is more secure. We use 6-digit transitory codes. Many of you are familiar with that. When you log into your bank, you'll get a multi-factor auth code. This is just a 6-digit code sent straight to the agent's email. It'll expire after 5 minutes. That's great for the agent, keeps them more secure. That's also great because they don't have another password to remember, and that's not secure. And so this is a simple, clean way to get them into the integration. From here, the integration takes over. This is us. They were in MLS technology. This window pops out. This is the Earnest integration portion. They go ahead and answer a question to determine which workflow they're going down. Most agents will click on the first one. Yes, I have the buyer email, but both flows work. And then from there, they begin to fill out a few basic points of information. Buyer first and last name, email address, earnest money amount. The property address will pull. The integration is set up to do this. The property address will pull straight from the platform itself, all right? From within Matrix, the property listing. And then I mentioned that Netflix Smart Search. That's at the bottom of your screen. We'll just flip to this screen so you can see it transitioning along. They will look for their preferred escrow holder in the state in which the property is listed. Now, guys, they can't search for escrow holders that are outside the state in which the property is located. If they pick an Oklahoma property, they can only search our Oklahoma network. We're not letting them see all 50 states, okay? There would be some duplicate names and things like that. It could lead to confusion. So we keep the network tethered to the state in which the property resides. But once they've gone ahead and picked this Legend Realty, that locks in the escrow account underneath the hood. Simple, secure, easy. And then I mentioned keeping all parties in the loop. You can see the notification receipts. Earnest kind of reset the landscape when we did this. This was a new concept within real estate of like all parties, automatic receipts, all directions, all the information. What we've done since then is we've evolved this a little bit, and we've added the ability for the requester, again, anybody in your member network who's the requester, can add additional emails. Let's say there's a spouse. Okay, go ahead and add the spouse onto the request. They'll get the notification receipts when the payment is made too. We are really big then. This final screen, we're going to cover the phone app workflow shortly as well. Earnest has an award-winning phone app that some agents may like to use. We make getting to our support team easy. And our support team is in-house, guys. I tell my teams repeatedly, we are not here to push a product. We are here to improve workflows. And I really believe that. And part of believing that is building a world-class support team in-house, completely in-house support team. We are available Monday through Friday, 8 to 8. I check in with the teams throughout the day, make sure the caseload's moving well. We get 99% of our cases addressed same day. If your phone call is not picked up live, we're typically able to pick it up in under a half an hour and return your call. It's fast. It's an excellent team. We take great care of our agents. We take great care of our escrow officers. We take great care of our home buyers. Many of our calls every day are not technical problems at all. They are just a home buyer who has never done a digital payment asking for a walkthrough. And we'll do that for them. No problem. So this is a great support team that's going to help support this product, not just a product we're pushing at you. Now, the agent, obviously, we hope a lot of people use the MLS technology integration within Matrix. We really hope that just takes off. We built that to be convenience for the agent. We do understand, though, that no two agents are the same, right? They all have their personal workflows. So we've got options. And one of those options is an award-winning phone app. You guys can go to earnest.com with two N's, and download the phone app today, or you can just go to the App Store, Google Play. Either of those are fine. Again, type in Earnest with two N's, download the phone app. Setup takes about 30 seconds. Once inside, the request process takes the average agent about 60 seconds. It's 5 screens. It's easy. It's the same information they'd input in the integration. Property address, buyer first, last name, search the escrow holder network the same way, and then finally a review and send screen, guys. Review and send screen. Okay. What's really nice about the phone app is that it can be used as a tracking device for the individual request that was made for Earnest Money. You see there on the left side of the screen where a request has been sent for $5,000 for 123 Main Street. Any agent or user of the app can click into the request and see how their buyer is doing, progressing through it. And even after the buyer has hit payment authorized stage, which in our product means they've gone ahead and paid the Earnest Money, we still provide trackability across the ACH network. So the agent is never in the dark. Now, this is a really important point I'm about to make, guys, and it's something you may want to jot down. I believe this training is being recorded. It's a critical piece, though. It really is. Whether the user, agent, whether that user is using the MLS technology integration or the phone app, they should use the same email address. We recommend agents stick to their business email address no matter where they log in. We've got more than a dozen integrations. Some agents are using 2 or 3 integrations plus the phone app, okay? Use the same email address to sign into all of them because the phone app is tracking all the requests that are put in other places. So if an agent wants to use the MLS technology integration for all their requests, they're like, I'm just going to work right from the listings. I'm going to work right from the Clarity dashboard. They can still come into the phone app and track the request as long as they're using the same email address to sign in. Think of it as one account, which it is, but many different places to access that account. That's how Earnest is built. We do see agents sign up under 3 or 4 different email addresses. It won't break anything if they do that. They can still send requests and track them, but they are all siloed by those accounts. This avoids that problem. One account, one email address, no matter where you sign in. And trackable payments, again, just another screen, a little bit closer up version. Notice at the top right side of the screen, there is a send again button. That's going to be a big, big help to many of the agents. Buyers are sometimes stressed. They don't always do what the agent wants them to do in the time the agent wants them to do it. So it may be that 24 hours have gone by since February 22nd. You see there at the top of the screen, it stamps the time when the request was sent. So let's say it's a whole day. Now it's February 23rd, and it's still just showing requested as the status. Problem. The agent can, one, send the request again, and then secondly, they should call their buyer. And they should call their buyer right away as soon as they send the request so the buyer knows to go check their email. We also have a web app. At this point, you're going, okay, this is quite a few different access points. As I said, there's well over a dozen different ways to use Earnest, but we're trying to keep this narrow today. We do find that some agents like to use the web app, which again is accessible right from our website. There's a sign-in button. Agents sign in, they click it. Same email address as the phone app, same email address as the MLS technology integration. It'll sign them into a dashboard experience. And we were surprised. We learned here. We thought at one point we just sunset the old web app. We're like, who would use that? And then we realized the usage for it, well, not the majority of usage. Our integrations in our phone app by far are the majority of our usage. There's still a contingent of agents that really like to sit down at a desktop and track their requests. So that's available for them. All right. The payer experience, probably the most critical part here, right? Like if we could get escrow holders to adopt this, which was the first group that really jumped in, and then we proved we could get agents to adopt it, could we get payers to be comfortable with a Venmo type experience for earnest money? Well, the answer is yes. And we've done that again by making this so seamless. They get a clear, clean, labeled email with a transaction ID into their inbox. Again, as we're training agents, as you're interacting with them, we want folks to follow these invites up with a phone call. It's an age of spam. It's an age of email phishing. We take every safeguard we can around our product, but the best technology here is human technology, and that is call your home buyer. I just sent you an earnest money request. It's coming from support@earnest.com. Go in there and get into that request. They click on the Pay Earnest Money button, and they are off and running. And this flow should look kind of familiar. The same setup as the agent goes through. No passwords, set up your account quickly, first, last name, email address, and phone number. And then you're off and you're acting with a request that already has the pre-filled earnest money details in, because the agent already did that hard work. You just confirm your identity. This takes seconds, guys. This is just a public search of publicly available records. Think of it like a LexisNexis. Then, just like in Venmo, in fact, when I say just like in Venmo, it's the same partner underneath the hood, Plaid, that is partnering this part of the experience, that is powering this part of the experience, I should say. All right. We use Plaid because we like the way they work with the data. They allow Earnest to not have to see or store anything, which is exactly the way we want to work. We want to be a conduit. We don't want to have any of the home buyer data. And most importantly, they allow us access to 16,000 plus banks and credit unions, most of which allow the buyer to connect in seconds. Again, we do not see or store this information. It is not in any layer of our system. And we've got pieces, components that we passed to Mike and the team to share with you all that the agent can have as part of their portfolio, or the escrow officer can have as part, and resource those right out to the home buyer, answering questions like, does Earnest see or store my banking information? Does Earnest save my username and password? Do they see it? They have access to it at all? We don't have any kind of access to it, guys. We don't even see it. When I say that, I mean, we see like a tokenized code that comes across and then we dispose of. We don't have it, which is great. And then from there, guys, they see the full review and pay screen, letting them know what they've just about to committed to do, the $24 platform fee, the total earnest money amount. They get a confirmation screen, and then those receipts. I keep talking about those. You can see why agents, escrow officers, admins, home buyers love these receipts. The receipt on the left, the authorization receipt, is generated as soon as the earnest money request is paid, instantaneously. The receipt on the right is generated 2 to 3 business days later on average, when the money actually deposits and settles. We are using the ACH network, guys. The speeds are not wire speeds. They are also getting faster year by year. When I started with Earnest, it was just like a check. A buyer would pay, we'd send out the payment authorization receipt, and 4 to 5 business days later, the money would deposit. Because of the improvements to the ACH network and the technology Earnest is able to leverage, 1 out of every 3 of our payments today settles same day, with an average of 2 to 3 business days. So we are getting faster and faster, and will continue to get faster as more and exciting technology innovations come to the network. I mentioned our escrow holders. This is a really important screen. We keep escrow holders just as clued in, more so, about what's going on with their escrow account. And that's the way it should be. So we provide free reconciliation tools for all of our escrow holder network. Any admin, any escrow holder, any attorney, any leader of a brokerage can go in and see exactly what's occurring with their escrow account, not just what's deposited or on its way. They can see all the way on the left side what's already been requested, but has not yet been interacted with. And finally, guys, this is an important screen here. We're almost at the end, and I'm looking forward to opening it up to questions for a little bit. But when you go to this screen right here on our website, or you can do this same process inside our phone app, you can also do the same process inside the integration. We don't have every escrow holder in the United States. We have a lot of them, and we're growing fast, as I mentioned. But inviting your preferred escrow holder is something your network, your members can do that will rapidly have an impact in expanding your escrow holder network. We have a team watching these leads come in. Invite emails are not just sent to our team, they're also sent to the invited escrow holder. That's usually a very warm introduction. We get most of these folks to sign up and sign in quickly. When we get one of these invites, the turnaround time on many of them is 24 to 48 hours before that escrow holder is live in our system. Again, we're calling an escrow holder who is very aware of what's happening in the industry in terms of fraud, and we're letting them know we have a free, safe, secure, no fraud option with a reconciliation tool. It's usually a pretty succinct sales cycle. So please take advantage of this. This is an important screen for your members. If they go to search for that first earnest money request they want to create and their escrow holder comes up as no return, it's not a problem. Right in that screen will be an option to invite the escrow holder. And we're pretty good at getting them in the door. So I really appreciate y'all's time today. I believe, Mike, we have a little time for Q&A, maybe more than a little bit of time. So I'll pause here, Mike, for anything you want to say, and then we'll open it up for questions.
Yeah, and actually, it looks like we already got a couple in the Q&A, and a couple that are in chat as well.
Got it. Pulling that up here, guys. Sorry, I'm on my home step today, so I'm switching screens. It's a little different. Okay, let's see here. Okay, Tanisha, hopefully I said that right. Tanisha, good to be with you today. In the event the deal busts and the earnest money gets refunded, is it integrated enough to refund funds directly to the party to receive funds, or must they receive a paper check refunded? Tanisha, that's a really good question. The short answer is Earnest offers free earnest money refunds built right inside that admin dashboard, that second to last screen I showed you guys, so that admins from the participating escrow holder can return it. And it's much faster than a check. Our EM returns are not only free, earnest money returns are not only free with Earnest, they are really fast, usually a business day or less. Anonymous attendee, got it. If it takes 2 to 3 days, if the client doesn't do this on day one, the earnest money will be late. Is the escrow agent able to see that is in process? Yes, they are able to see it's in process. We do recommend that, again, anybody who's created the request, call the buyer immediately. That is the most important probably point from today, along with the single email that I mentioned multiple times. Call right away. And we try to emphasize that in our trainings. We've got our director of client success on here today, Aaron Higgs. He and his team do hundreds of trainings with agents a quarter. It's a point we pound away at constantly. I will say that some states look at our authorization receipt. Y'all saw the receipt screen just a few minutes ago. They do take our author, because we're good funds, they take that authorization receipt to the bank. That is the same mechanism if you were to cash a check. What we just did there in authorizing that request is the same mechanism, except we've checked to make sure the buyer has sufficient funds behind the scenes before we even let them hit pay. So not only are we a step above a check in terms of checking for sufficient funds, the mechanism when a buyer hits authorize in our system is the equivalent of cashing the check. So that's something that different states treat differently. Some states do prefer to wait for the deposit receipt, but there's really a two-pronged answer to that then. One, absolutely emphasize that the client needs to be called immediately. Secondly, there are many escrow holders, I mean many, that just get that first authorization receipt. They know it's good funds. They're good with it, and they'll post that instead. Tanisha, another good question. Who is paying the $24 fee? Yes, on that supply and demand chart. Let me go back to that, actually. We usually end up on that chart anyways, so I want to go back there. Okay, I'm going to come right back to this. You bet, Tanisha. I see that. Thank you. So Tanisha, who's paying the $24 fee? I'm going to share that screen again, and we're going to look at it again here. So you've got the demand side, which is the agent, the supply side, which is the escrow holder. The only way Earnest monetizes is when money moves. We don't charge agents. We don't charge the escrow holder network. We charge the buyer a flat $24 fee for the convenience and security of our service when they go through the platform. For a buyer making a $15,000 payment on the biggest investment of their life, or 50 or whatever it may be, we found that $24 is a very competitive amount. Most of the country, not all of it, but most of the country, wire fees are the equivalent or higher than that. That's what we found. And so again, this has been no problem to adoption to this point. Debbie, in the case of properties that do not have an address yet, can we add the name of the parties? Oh, that's a great question. Debbie, you could do that, but built right into the interface will be the option for you. If there's no address that pulls up, it'll allow you to manually enter your address. Earnest is huge, for example, with home builders. We have some of the biggest home builders in the country using this platform. They almost never have a property address, right? It's usually just a lot number somewhere. And so we do have the ability, if the Google Maps component of our product doesn't pull in the product the address automatically, it'll default to giving you the option to put in any answer manually. Great question. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing screen here and come back to the full view. Other questions here, guys? Aaron, glad you could hop in. We've got questions in the other chat as well here. I'm going to transition to that. One moment, folks. Bethany, that's a great question. Zinar, love to see that you downloaded. Awesome. It is super easy. It is. Bethany, can this only be used for EM or can it be used for full cash per? No, today we cannot do the cash to close component or anything like beyond the EM. We are working on it. And I mentioned those technology innovations that are coming to the network. The biggest issue is speed. We have to be faster for the cash to close component. But that is coming. That is coming. And we're excited about that. So just a matter of time. Jetta, okay, great. Glad this was useful. Awesome. Patty, I think the same question or close to as Bethany. Cash to close. Can't do that today. All right, I'll pause. A lot of me talking. Mike, are we hitting the points you want us to hit as we wait for more questions to come in?
Yeah, this has been great so far.
Good. It really is simple, folks. It's one of those things that's actually more complicated to explain it than it is to actually do it. When your members download that phone app or click on the green Earnest button, talk about 30 seconds, 40 seconds of their time. It's fast. And then they call their buyer goes in, connects, their buyer has any questions. Our support team on average across the country fields about 150 calls a day, which isn't that much considering the volume we're doing, but it's about 150. And most of those questions are just buyers who maybe have not done a digital payment. There may be a question about speed or receipts, or my bank isn't automatically connecting. What do I do? There's a solution for that. It's very simple. So those are the kind of things you see come up. But all in all, guys, then end to end, 4 to 5 minutes have gone by of everybody's time and nobody has had to go anywhere. Kim, that is a great question. If the buyer ever says, I downloaded such and such with Earnest, we have failed at our jobs. The client just needs to look for that email in their inbox. Our different portals and integrations and the phone app and the web app, that's all for the agents. That's to let them pick from that smorgasbord what the best way for them to create the request is. What's the most convenient for their workflow? The buyer is sitting there passively waiting for an email. That's it. Bethany, so it can be sent from any bank. Kim, you're welcome. Bethany, that's a great question. Yeah, Plaid is the US bank network, and that includes credit unions. Now, not every bank's going to automatically connect. I try to be very transparent there. Some banks, we see this mostly with hyper local small banks and some credit unions where they're going to make the buyer do a micro deposit. And all that is 2 small micro deposits they send out, the buyer confirms them, and then they can go through. adds a business day to the transaction time. Okay. Most of our buyers do not go through that flow. The vast majority are going through automated banks. And what we've seen happen here, guys, actually, Bethany's question is really, really pertinent. It's not just the ACH network has gotten better. A lot of banks, big banks, have acquired other banks. We could talk about, that's a whole discussion unto itself. But the point is, more and more of our network have the ability to automatically connect the buyer's bank. As more and more of the big or mid-level regional banks absorb the other banks, they just pull them into their tech stack. And so not only has the ACH network gotten faster, the banks that Plaid uses, the more and more higher and higher percentage are able to automatically connect the buyer. Buyer doesn't have to go into bank to sign. No, this is fully remote, Kim. Yep, that's the beauty of this. We have literally got quotes from buyers who paid in their car during car line. I hope we don't, nobody's paying while they're driving down the road, but theoretically, you can pretty much pay from anywhere you have a signal or a hotspot. The buyer is not able to use Cash App or I believe Chime. I have to check Plaid's network. It has to be a checking or savings account. We have to be able to verify the balance. If we cannot verify the balance, that's going to be a problem. And so, we're trying to do two things: be absolutely secure and move the money as fast as possible. Verifying the payer's balance is a big component of this. So I can't speak to Chime. I don't believe Cash App at all. These have to be verified U.S. bank savings, U.S. savings or checkings accounts. But as far as convenience, guys, you cannot beat this. Agent at the gym and gets the go ahead on a deal and the right paperwork is signed, the request can be fired off and it might be paid before they get home. Okay, Susanna, that's a great question. That Missouri closing company you're talking about, they may be Missouri based, but it also means that they have an office or two somewhere in Oklahoma. So that's why they're showing up. It is not possible in our system to show up where you don't have an escrow account. So that Missouri closing company does have a Oklahoma escrow account. As far as accidentally choosing the incorrect closing company, it does happen occasionally. Again, though, we have that EM refund feature, the earnest money refund feature that's free. The escrow holders see it in their admin dashboard, just send it right back to the buyer, and it transfers back in a day. Is there a way, and by the way, it's not common too, guys. I should emphasize how rare this is. We've had 17 cases of that all year. It is rare, but it does sometimes happen. So that is something to be aware of. Is there a way to see a list of registered escrow holders? Yes, there sure are. Tracy, let me share my screen. I keep talking about the desktop app, and now I'm actually going to show you guys how to get there because it is very convenient for you guys. If you just want to poke around, it's also to the point of Tracy's question, the best way to see our entire escrow holder network is in the desktop app. Okay, guys. So this admin and agent sign-in button right here, that's your portal to the desktop app. Use the same email address as you'll use for every place else. Sign in, you get your 6-digit code, punch that in, and you'll be inside the desktop app. The desktop app, as soon as you're in, this is my account I'd be signing into, so I'm not going to pull it up here in front of everybody. But once you've signed in, you will see a series of options on the left-hand side. One of them is escrow holders. You click it, there's a search bar, and you can start searching by any escrow holder in the 50 United States. Oh, flipping back to the Q&A. Thank you, Josh. I'm doing my best to keep track of both here. Can you add out of state closing companies from Lisa? Yes, again, I think I'm looking at Lisa's question, guys, and anonymous attendees a question, and the answers to both questions I think are the same as the discussion we're having. You can search our entire network. We are in 47 or 48 states, including Texas, and you can search in there to see if the escrow holder you want is available, all from the web app, okay? If you don't see them, there should be an invite button that pops up and you can invite them. And again, as I mentioned in the webinar, we have a really strong track record of getting them. We've got a team just watching the invites pour in from the across the country. It's actually we joke about like the social network. It's been pretty cool to see this go from, several hundred to thousands, all through people like you inviting their escrow holder, them seeing the email, us calling them, and them being signed up within 24 to 48 hours in some cases. So one, there's a good chance we probably have a bunch of your out-of-state network. Two, if we don't, invite them and we'll get them. And in most cases, we'll be able to have them answer. Anonymous attendee asked another question. When you say you're looking into increasing speed to be able to sell cash to close amounts, would this be using block? That's a fun question. We get asked that a lot. It's not using blockchain. The next innovation on the in digital payments front, and you guys can research this for yourselves, it's RTP, real-time payments. I think if I'd said that 3 or 4 years ago, most eyebrows would have gone up. Now there's more and more familiarity. RTP, real-time payments, is the next stage of evolution of digital payments. It is going to be instantaneous like a wire, but with all the components of the ACH network, the security around it. That is the next big thing everybody is watching for. Now, it's already live. The problem with RTP is you need to have both the sender's bank and the receiver's bank on board. And while we've got some massive bank network adoption on the receiver side, the Bank of America's, you got thousands of small credit unions and hyper-local banks and little tiny regional players that are not on board yet. And so you need both sides working to have the RTP. So we are close, but we're not going to offer something until it's a majority use case. All right. Can we save the two companies we use the majority of times? And when we send the request to the buyer, will it allow us to choose one of the two? Yes, Suzanne, we don't call it favorites, but inside the phone app, when you've used the phone app once for your preferred escrow company or preferred escrow companies, it remembers. Let me show you the screen because a visual is worth way more than me talking about it. Give me just a second, guys. Okay. I think that was screen 19. Yeah, screen 19. Okay, I'm gonna share screen again, guys. Okay, we should all be seeing that. See this middle portion right here? Let me turn it to slideshow mode so that's a little bit larger for y'all. See this middle screen here? Let's say you do, best title company. I'm real creative today. Best title company. And that's your first request. When you come back, best title company will be sitting right here. So we don't have like a favorites term for it, but functionality wise, that is what it's doing. Let me know if that answered your question there, Tracy. I want to, when I get past 10 or 15 questions, my responses start to get a little dodgy. So, or sorry, not Tracy. That someone else asked that question. I can't remember who. Tracy, you asked a separate question in the chat. Let's look at that. We own our own brokerage. Can I register as a business and as an agent with the same email address? Aaron, my man, I need your help on this one. I believe the answer is yes. Okay. The director of client success says yes. That means yes. So we're good. And Tracy, if you'd like to speak to our strategic partnerships team about getting your business enrolled, I can arrange that. I'm going to drop my email in here. Happy to make that introduction for you. They're awesome. The onboarding experience is 5 minutes of your time, and we can have you live in about 24 hours. And then you'll get to meet Aaron's team, and they're cool folks too. They'll train you and make sure you're comfortable introducing this and have all the resources. And that is one thing, guys, I haven't talked about at all. Is there's an interlude between the questions here. Let me just pull up, just as a sample, the resources we make available. We have built up a first-in-class resource library for our partners, thanks to Aaron and his team. If you need a walkthrough of the admin dashboard and you're on the escrow holder side, we got you covered. But where we really see the demand, agents want materials to introduce Earnest to the buyer. Agents want their buyer presentation to look good. And we make their buyer presentation look really good. Okay. We're not just going to drop a product on these guys. We're going to make sure the buyer, when they get that request in their email inbox, knows exactly what each step looks like visually. Agent's going to feel great having this in their portfolio. We are going to make sure the agent is armed with security questions. We're in South Carolina, guys. 9 years ago, it was roughly 9 years ago, the state lost all of our social security numbers. And when I say lost, I mean they got hacked. It was statewide news, probably didn't make it out to the Midwest, but it was a big deal here. Everybody's thinking about security. It's very natural that this piece is our most popular piece. Buyers are going to ask their agents questions. We want agents to be well armed. Security guy, how are we built? And then very importantly, a growing segment of the home buyer market in many, many states, rapidly growing. We make sure these pieces are available in Spanish as well. So we are going to make sure, these are just a small sampling. We have dozens of these resources built out. Usually agents lean on 3 or 4 of their preferred favorites, and those are the 3 or 4 I have up. But we are not just going to, whether you're an escrow holder thinking, man, I'd like to sign up for Earnest, or you're thinking about how you'll interact as a member or wanting to push this to your members, we are going to make this smooth for the agents to introduce to the buyer. Aaron dropped his email address. If you want, Aaron, would you also drop the success email address? If you guys want a walkthrough of the product and you haven't signed up yet, that's our strategic partnerships team. But if you guys want to really have an in-depth nuts and bolts, what marketing resources, how do I get this to my members, all those questions, that's our success team. Another Q&A. Debbie, back to the address question. We cannot assign addresses until the 911 person in a particular county creates the address. I take your response to mean that we can make up an address. Yes, if that is part of your workflow, Debbie, you absolutely can, as long as it's something that will serve the purposes of moving the deal forward. You will have the flexibility in the product to input whatever you need to input. That's probably the way I should have answered it the first time. Does that help, Debbie? Awesome. Oh, yes. All right, back to you for a second, Mike. How are we doing? I know we still got a lot of folks in the room. I want to make sure we're answering these questions, that this is making sense and connecting y'all with the right folks. How we doing?
Yeah, this is looking great. I think actually we probably should start heading towards wrapping it up,
Okay.
just because we'll have another class and webinar coming up here in a minute. Um, but this is good. This has been great so far. For those of you guys who are still here, we'll have a recording of this that we're going to be putting up to our YouTube video or our YouTube channel. I also wanted to mention we can send a link to you guys directly, just kind of to get feedback along with the information about Blaine and Aaron and their success team. So if there are any further follow-ups that you guys have or any other questions beyond that, uh, we can make sure that those resources are available to you guys to ensure that any questions you're having about this awesome new product, we can get directed to the right people.
Thank you so much for the opportunity, Mike. We'll come back anytime you want us to. And folks, again, I hope this was helpful for everybody. Reach out to us. We'll get you connected, okay? Thank you
Yeah.
all.
Oh, let me double check that, Susanna. Okay, sorry about that delay. Actually, it should be available on the MLS dashboard already under that core services section. There should be a button there that says show more, and that should have the Earnest icon from there. So Susanna, Deanna, if you guys wouldn't mind double checking just to make sure that should have a link there for Earnest on that core services section under show more. Actually, let me, that's my turn to share. There we go. Yeah, it should be on here. Oh, actually, let me zoom this in so you guys can actually see this. Yeah, it should be under this core services section and then show more. If you guys are not seeing that, we will follow up with our group to make sure that that tile starts appearing for you. But yeah, it's just tucked under there. We have lots of core services. And then I think he also did mention earlier when you guys are looking at this, there should be an option there for Earnest under, just grab, uh, when you guys are looking at the listing data, so we can actually see it, there should be an icon here for Earnest as well. But if it's not showing up on that portal, it may be that it's not been made available yet, which I think we had already, yeah, it should be today for sure. Or at least that's when it was scheduled to have appeared on your dashboard. So I appreciate you guys letting me know. I'll actually double check to see what's happening with that and get that resolved here as quickly as we can. Okay. So it is just missing from the dashboard. I appreciate it. Thank you, Pam, for letting me know. All right. Well, that actually gives us a good direction on how to get it corrected then too, because uh, we'll be able to go and turn that on because it should be appearing like this for you guys as well. I think since I'm on a admin account, I'm getting a couple extra buttons that you guys might not see, but the Earnest should be available certainly before the end of the day. Thank you guys for letting us know that because that could be a problem. It was supposed to be up, but we'll get it on there now. Thank you guys so much for joining us. I'm going to go ahead and close up shop so we can get the Add Edit webinar started up. If any of you guys are interested in the Add Edit webinar, you can get registered on our training page. But beyond that, we're all set. Have a good one and stay safe.